Welcome to my show. This is Olive Ho, broadcasting from London. Last year, I was commissioned by China Family Business magazine and had this chance to interview Michael Engler, the film director of Downtown Abbey. In this exclusive interview, Michael shared his creative journey and insightful observation. I hope you like it. Here we go. I noticed that you directed some contemporary TV series before, like Sex and City, and then later on you worked on this period drama. So how do you compare this like contemporary subject and the period drama? How do you view these two different types of subjects, let's say?
Well, in the end, for me, the things that always interest me are kind of the same, which are sort of how small relationships are affected by the bigger overall social or political period, construct around them, and vice versa, how people push against those to change things or to try to, emerge as individuals more than the situation has allowed for them. But it's what's interesting is I always felt even that in a funny way, Sex and the City is a kind of period drama, even though it was at its time, because it was all so much. It was kind of a comedy of manners too, which is like, this is how men and women were supposed to behave with each other emotionally, romantically, sexually, and then how they all had to deal with it and how they were all different and how they were all struggling with it. And in some ways, that's not so different from anything. I think Lady Mary is dealing with the restrictions of her class and her time and her period in relation to, who she should marry and how she can be romantically and what she's allowed to do and not allowed to do, in the same way that, in a different way, but it's not a different story than what the ladies in Sex and the City were dealing with. So I think it's always about looking at, the thing about period drama is that I think sometimes the distance on things, because it's so easy to see what's different about it than today, and that kind of strips some things away, and then that makes it clearer what's the same, what's always been the same, about romance and family and being in a workplace environment, whether you're working in the office today, 30 Rock, something I worked on, that's a workplace comedy, but working, downstairs in the kitchens and everything in Downton Abbey, it's the same thing. You have a group of people who all have to work together. They don't always get along. Some of them are, harder workers than others. And, those things kind of are timeless. And I think that's what people enjoy about it, when you can show them what's different in a way that they get to see into a world they're not so accustomed to, but at the same time that they look at it and say, oh God, nothing has changed, really. People have always been the same.
Do you think the Downtown Abbey time could be any reference to us?
I do, actually. I do. Because I think in some ways it's sort of like a society getting used to the fact that a lot of things that have worked a certain way for a long time aren't really working anymore. And people have to sort of discover new ways of thinking about it and making sense of it and changing and creating opportunities for people who haven't had opportunities. And, not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, being aware that while you need to respect and appreciate what history and culture and society have given you and have created, you also need to realize things always need to be alive and possibly changing and looking at ways in which things can improve or develop. If you inherit something, for instance, you still have to find a way to become worthy of it. You're not automatically worthy just because you inherit it, in that that whether you do that by giving back or by how you interact with the community and the people dependent on you, the people who aren't entitled to anything, like how you relate to them and to other people. And that, I think, is what gives you the right to have certain things, or to not even the right, but just what gives you value as a person in that just being rich and having those things definitely doesn't make you any better, but using them in a moral and publicly generous spirited way does.
So at the end, I asked the final question. What is the DNA for Downtown Abbey's success? Here is Michael's view.
Well, I think it's a balance between grandeur, splendor, spectacle, sparkle, and, beautiful, rich life with the most subtle, intimate, details of human life, of everybody at every level having the same needs to find love, to find a place in the world where they feel useful and meaningful, and I think it's that balance between the very sparkly and the very heartfelt.